Hello everyone, this is Kangar. Welcome back to Skyrim VR. Today with another mod video, and that is the full release of Mage VR by Muken. So let me first start off with something that I cannot show you anymore, and that is the wrist menus, because they have been removed. They've been a little bit annoying, and there were a lot of complaints actually, and some users resorted to not using the mod at all because of the menus, and these are now gone. You have to set everything in the MCM now, but since everyone has easy access to the MCM anyways, that shouldn't be a problem. And the next little improvement is that now you can use potions while you have a weapon in your hand. So earlier this was impossible, and you could only do that while having empty hands or spells, and now you can use the smart potion buttons with a weapon in your hand. That is, you bring your hand in front of your HMD and press the smart potion button and drink a potion. In this case a minor stamina potion, because the right uses stamina and magicka and the left one uses health potions. So you have to be careful. You cannot use the potions while having your hand like this, and it feels a little bit weird with the weapon because you basically have to stick it in your face, but you have to pretend that you're actually drinking something, and then it works. Okay. Then another minor improvement is that the hitboxes for the potions, the quiver in the back for the arrow, and for holsters are a little bit more generous, so it's easier to reach and more forgiving if you're frantically trying to grab something in fights. Then for the hand poses, they do not need to be in line with your HMD anymore, so you have a little bit more freedom in where you position your arms while performing the hand poses. So again, a little bit easier to use in fights. Also, the hand pose that previously had your arms like this or like this, they can now be also like this. And if you do it like that, you have to be careful that when you cross in height from one side to the other, it registers as another hand pose. But if you take care of that and you prepare your pose in a certain way, then that should not be an issue. Just keep it in mind. Or you can of course just also continue to do it like that. So the next part is the glyph system. This has been reworked so that you are now no longer pointing the glyph, but you move your hand to draw the glyph. And in addition to that, you do not have to draw the glyph in a certain position, but they exist out of several smaller parts, and they can be drawn anywhere apart of each other. So that way the glyph drawing accuracy has been greatly improved. In addition to that, there are no longer particle effects, so glyph drawing now looks like that. I actually don't know the glyphs because I rarely used them, especially in the last year. But yeah, you get the gist. So that's how the glyphs work now. There's also a folder here available for download where you can see all glyphs that are possible. In addition to the rework of the glyph casting, there are no more predefined slots for the glyphs. Everything is custom made, or you can make everything custom, so there are altogether 112 slots for glyphs. So essentially you have 7 core glyphs and you have 4 different modifiers that you can use for them, and in combination you get all these 112. Then let's get to the backpack. You've probably all been waiting for that, and here it is. This is the backpack, new immersive user interface for your inventory and for looting like that. But first, how do you even get it? So you have to go to the mod configuration menu here, and then Mage VR, and here you get your spawn Mage VR backpack button. If you press that, you will find it in your inventory. And the backpack is a shield, which you find here in your apparel section, and you can just equip it like that. And then it's a shield. And you can use that shield like any other shield. And you can also equip it in in VRIK in a holster, like I have it here in my bag. Yeah, so what it does, it gives you very easy and immersive, because the game is not paused, access to all your inventory. That is, firstly, your favorites, of course, that's the things that are starred here. Then also your weapons, apparel in any way. The E here means equipped, but that will probably change a little bit, it's not yet clear. And here you get your potions, your scrolls, some food, and poisons. And here all the rest, or everything combined, which is, for example, gold. Cool. So you interact with the backpack using the button that is specified in your Mage VR ini, which is the grip button by default. And what you can do is either use something and, or let's just go with usage first. Yeah, either use something by, for example, Potion of Minor Healing, putting that in your face and releasing, so you're drinking it. Or you can equip things like the steel sword here, and here you can decide to the right side or the left side of your body. If I want to equip it to the right side, release it here, and it's equipped there. And lastly, you can also just throw things away by grabbing it and releasing it a little further. It falls to the ground somewhere around you. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where it is, but yeah, that's how you drop things. Pretty straightforward. It should also be noted that most other Mage VR gestures are blocked while you interact with the user interface here, so otherwise it would mix up things. Yeah, and as I showed earlier, the most important function, if you ask me, is this. Immersive looting without pausing the game. You really open the loot box of your enemy or the loot crate or whatever and drag and drop stuff into your inventory. And the best thing is the colors here correspond to the value per weight. For example, white is not very... it has the regular colors, you know it from any other game basically. White, then green, then blue, then purple. And the golden color in this case is really meant for only jewelry or gold, more or less, because it has it's very high. So you can definitely always grab the golden stuff, and for the rest you might want to think about what it is. At this point, this is everything you can see in the user interface. You cannot see other things like enchantments and so on, but this is being worked on. Just be a little patient and we'll get there. If you want to use Mage VR, be sure to download the mod and the application edition. So when you start your game, you have to first start the application, the Mage VR app, and then only after it says start Skyrim now, you should start Skyrim. And then everything should work and should say successfully paired when the game is booted. And what you can also do is set your Mage VR stuff up in the Mage VR ini. The most important thing you should do when setting Mage VR up is, if you are using VRIK, you have to make sure that the holster buttons are different from the button that you use for your VRIK holsters. Otherwise you will have a mix-up and you will have strange things happening, like you holster your backpack or you holster anything and Mage VR unholsters it at the same time, or these kind of things. So definitely make sure, for example for me, I have the grip button, the number 2 with the index controllers as my Mage VR holsters, as my VRIK holsters, and I had to disable that by just typing in 100 here. Then something you should also have a look at is if you have your mod in Vortex or in MO2 of course, you should open it, and here you see the Mage VR configuration.bat. This is a Windows batch file that lets you select the backpack type, because we have different looking backpacks in different colors and 2K, 4K and different sizes. So for example, I used the extra large file if I remember correctly, but you have to check there is no default solution for that, because that depends on the way your VRIK scales your hands and the backpack in the end. So that's really just meant to make sure that your user interface here works well. Alright, and one thing, if you are using the index controllers like I am, you need to use my shared bindings. You can do that by going into your settings here and using the old binding UI. For some reason Mage VR does not show up in the actual binding UI. So if you're there, show more applications and scroll all the way down to a black screen to the left and the name Mage VR. And click that. Sometimes this takes a very long while, maybe a minute or so, but sometimes it also requires you to restart SteamVR. I don't know why exactly that is, but just so you know it. And then you can just use the shared binding from Kangar. It should show up for you here in the community binding setting. That's important, because the legacy bindings of the knuckle controllers were creating some mix-up. It's not horrible if you don't do it, but it can be that some things behave a little bit weirdly. Yeah, and the last thing is that since the backpack is a shield, it will slow you down when you look at it. And when you don't look at it, you will be faster. So you should know that. And you can also change this with an ini key. You need the ini settings FVR shield block enter angle and shield block exit angle. And you can just set them then to 10 and 40, for example. That would be somewhere to the outside, and it won't slow you down anymore. I personally like it. I think it makes sense that you are slowed down while you look into your backpack, but I thought you should know. Alright, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I will have regular updates of Skyrim VR mods, release videos about twice a week, both for mods and for gameplay, and occasional other videos. So, I hope to see you in the next video then, and goodbye!